Now that you know what Azure DDoS Protection is, you might be wondering how to configure it. In this video, you will go through the steps to create a DDoS protection plan and enable DDoS protection for a new virtual network using the Azure Portal. You will also learn how to view your protected resources and monitor your DDoS protection settings. The first step is to create a DDoS protection plan. This plan defines a group of virtual networks that are protected by DDoS network protection across subscriptions. You only need one plan for your organization, and you can link virtual networks from different subscriptions to the same plan. Before you move on to the rest of the video, please note that it's not necessary for you to follow along in Azure during the demonstration. Configuring DDoS protection and linking the plan to a virtual network will be costly. Let's get started. First, open the Azure Portal and select Create a Resource in the upper left corner. Now search for DDoS in the search bar, and once the DDoS protection plan appears in the search results, select it. Once selected, click on Create to create a new DDoS protection plan. Now enter or select the following values. For the subscription, select your subscription. For the resource group, select RG Web Server. For the name, enter Plan 1. And for the region, enter East US. After entering the values, select Review and Create to review the details, and then click on Create to create your DDoS protection plan. Note that although DDoS protection plan resources need to be associated with a region, users can enable DDoS protection on virtual networks in different regions and across multiple subscriptions under a single Azure Active Directory tenant. A tenant is a dedicated and trusted instance of Azure AD. It's automatically created when your organization signs up for a Microsoft Cloud Service subscription. Now click Create. Wait for the deployment process to finish. And that's it. You've successfully created a DDoS protection plan on the Azure Portal. Once you have created a DDoS protection plan, the next step is to link it to a virtual network. This will enable DDoS network protection for the virtual network. So now you are going to apply the earlier created DDoS protection plan to a new virtual network. The first step is to create a new virtual network. To do this, follow these steps. Log into your Azure Portal and select Create a Resource in the upper left corner. Let's search for Virtual Network, and once the virtual network appears in the search results, select it and click Create. Now enter the following values. For subscription, select your subscription. For the resource group, select Use Existing, and then select RG Web Server. For the virtual network name, enter MyVNet, one word with a capital letter V. For the region, enter East US, and then select Next. Now it's time to enable DDoS protection for your virtual network by selecting Enable Azure DDoS Network Protection. Select the Plan 1 you created earlier. Click Next to move to IP addresses. Leave this as the default. Select Review and Create, and then select Create. That's it. You have now enabled DDoS protection for your virtual network in Azure. Please note that once you have enabled DDoS protection for a virtual network, you cannot move it to another resource group or subscription. If you need to move a virtual network with DDoS protection enabled, you must first disable DDoS protection. After that, move the virtual network and then enable DDoS protection again. Also, note that after the move, the auto-tuned policy thresholds for all the protected public IP addresses in the virtual network will be reset. Now it's time to learn how to view protected resources. Under Protected Resources, you can view your protected public IP addresses and virtual networks, or add more virtual networks to your DDoS protection plan. Congratulations, you have successfully learned how to set up Azure DDoS Network Protection using the Azure Portal. By following the steps outlined in this video, you should now be able to create a DDoS protection plan and enable DDoS protection for your virtual network in just a few clicks. Later in this lesson, you will be creating a virtual network with a virtual machine. Do not try to create DDoS protection for the sake of testing it out, because the cost is very high.